Good morning, everyone. I'm Priyanka Pandey, and I'm going to teach you English literature poem The Squirrel of class 7th from Honeycomb book. Okay, so I'll start with the poem. The Squirrel is given by Mildred Power Armstrong. So, if you first, I'll tell you a few things about the poet. The poet has earned her bachelor degree from Northwestern University in 1923. She also studied at Mount Holyoke College, the University of Chicago, and the University of Wisconsin. Okay, the poet also published few poems, and she is mainly the poet of children's book. So now, if you have seen a squirrel sitting on the ground eating a nut, so how do you think it would look like? Is it like the posture of the squirrel? So here the poet also described just the squirrel as such posture and what she sees, and how the squirrel depicts. Now, if I'll start with the poem, first I'll read the poem. He wore a question mark for a tail, an overcoat of grey. He sat up straight to eat a nut. He liked to tease and play. And if we ran around his tree, he went the other way. So here the poet give idea about the poem. It is a beautiful description in which the poet has compared the squirrel to human being. So now, if you see, there is a rhyming scheme that the poem follows, which is A, B, C, D, B, B. So, first I'll tell you what this poem is all about. It is a beautiful poem that talks about a squirrel, one of the most loving creature found on the earth. The poet described a squirrel sitting on a tree and eating a nut. He sat straight and his tail appeared like a question mark. So the writer found it quite amusing. He also described as wearing a grey overcoat pointing towards the grey furry skin of the squirrel. Interestingly, the squirrel liked to tease and play. So the writer and perhaps his friends ran after him only to scare him away and making him to take the other way. It is to be noted that the writer uses he and his instead of it. In case of animal or any other creature or an object as it is generally used, the squirrel is also described wearing a grey overcoat, just like human being. This is called personification, in which non-living object or an animal or a creature is treated as a human being, um, and the qualities of human being, and this is called personification. This element is used in writing poems or prose which to make it more interesting or sound more interesting. So there are some difficult words given in the poem also. You can go through it. For example, wore, overcoat, grey, tease, other way. So I'll tell you about the rhyming words which this poem is. There are only three rhyming words in the poem, that is grey, play, and fail. So now I'll explain you the poem. First, in the first three lines, the poet described the squirrel who was sitting on the tree and eating a nut. His tail seemed to him just like the commonly used question mark, and he had a grey, hairy skin referred to as an overcoat. The squirrel is set up straight, and it appeared that he was loving the nut. In the fourth and fifth lines, the squirrel is described as fun-loving and naughty creature. He liked teasing and playing, as the poet noticed. If the poet and his friends perhaps run around his tree following him, he went the opposite direction out of fear. Therefore, it seems that the squirrel is a very sensitive creature, as well as we all might have commonly noticed that as human being and outsider, either a human being is also afraid of people. So there are a few questions for the revision and recapitulation is given.